Dear students, welcome to the first class of our English literature. As you know, we have two papers of English literature. First one is of poems and second one is of prose. Today we will discuss the first paper. In this paper we have poems, first of all we will talk about the 7 Ages of Man. It is written by great dramatist William Shakespeare. First we will talk about who is Shakespeare. William Shakespeare is considered world's greatest poet. In English literature, he is known as the great dramatist, playwright, and poet. Elizabeth I was the Queen of England when Shakespeare was born in 1564. He was the son of a tradesman who made and sold gloves in the small town of Stratford-upon-Avon. He was educated at the grammar school in that town. Shakespeare did not go to university when he left school, but worked perhaps in his father's business. There is nothing exciting or even unusual in the life story till 1592, when he was known in London. He had become both an actor and a playwright. Shakespeare returned home from London to Stratford, his hometown. He was rich and successful. He owned one of the biggest houses in the town. He died in 1616. William Shakespeare wrote many sonnets, tragedies, comedies. He refined blank verse and perfected a poetic form popularly known as the English sonnet. In recognition of his contribution, English sonnets have been named after him as Shakespearean sonnet. Some of his remarkable plays are The Merchant of Venice, As You Like It, Hamlet, Othello, Macbeth, and The Tempest. In the next video, we will talk about Shakespearean sonnet. Today, we will discuss the sonnet, The 7 Ages of Man. The poem sonnet 7 Ages of Man. The poem 7 Ages of Man is an extract from Shakespeare's famous comedy As You Like It. These executive lines are spoken by Jacks in Act 2nd, Scene 8th. In this monologue, and melancholy Jacks outlines the 7 ages of man, 7 ages of human life. In this poem, Shakespeare calls the world as a stage, and human beings are playing their roles as actors. The birth and death of man in this world is equated with entrance and exit of actor on the stage. This poem was one of the famous works of Shakespeare due to its first phrase, all the world's a stage. The author compares the world with a stage, and every living person is described as an actor who plays 7 different roles on that stage. The description of every stage are brief but very lively and colorful through precisely chosen figures of speech. To illustrate his point, Shakespeare uses 7 examples of common actions that man does during his life. The first one is an infant who cries in the arms of his nurse. Then he grows to a schoolboy trying to skip the school. The third stage is an enamored young man lovesick and composing a ballad to his own love. Next one is grown up soldier, ambitious, devoted to his woes and short tempered. Later, a soldier retires and becomes a judge, using all the wisdom of his age. The sixth actor is shown aging in his home clothes, losing the sharpness of mind and strength of body. The last stage, age of man, is returning to the infant state, losing one's sight, ability to taste and hear, and losing one's sight and slowly going into oblivion. The 7 ages of man is written in free verse and using the narrative style. The poem is rich in metaphors. They start appearing from the very first phrase where the world is compared to a stage and people to actors on it. The author also uses simile to enhance his message and make the description more vivid. The examples are creeping like snail about a schoolboy who unwillingly goes to school, or singing like furnace about an emotional and excited young man in love. The last phrase of the poem emphasizes the point that life makes a full circle. The author deliberately names it second childishness to make this comparison clear. So, these 7 ages are described one to one in this poem. As we have seen that the first stage is infant, the second one is the winning schoolboy, third one is the lover, fourth one is of soldier, fifth one is of the justice. Sixth one is the lean and slippered pantaloon. Last one is last not least, last is of second childishness. These ages are described in this poem by some examples, by some similes, by some metaphors. In the next video, we will talk about line to line explanation of this poem so that, dear student, you can understand the whole poem. Because in your paper, there comes short questions that is of answer in 50 words. Next one is 250 words answer. Then the question comes of explain with reference to context. And the last come the question that is of 500 words. So to attempt these questions, we have to learn, we have to understand the whole poem line to line. This was only the introduction or a brief summary of the poem The Seven Ages of Man, because you are the newcomer in the college and this is the first class of English literature, because English is second language for you. So in the next lecture, on the next video, we will talk about in a descriptive manner all the poem.